So guys, I'm basically going to be using what I have in my fridge to make some chicken soup today. We have some chicken neck that's seasoned up, and I'm going to just make a nice pumpkin-like soup with some carrots and some potatoes and some dumplings, because I'm not really prepared for soup, but we want to use this chicken neck and we feel like soup. So soup can be made with anything that you have. You don't have to, always have a bunch of ground provision, etc., etc. So yeah, let's make this make up soup. Alright y'all, so we're gonna go ahead and just get into prepping all our veggies for this soup. So I'm gonna be starting with my pumpkin, and you know what, I'm gonna remove it from the packaging, and then I'm gonna wash it quickly. Alright, so our pumpkin is washed, and I'm gonna just go ahead and cut it into smaller sections so it's easier to handle. I love a soup that's packed with pumpkin. I don't know about you. I really wish I had like some green fig and so forth, but as the title says, we are cooking soup with what's in our fridge, right? So I preferably like to remove the skin. I mean, it's not gonna cook down like the pumpkin will. So I just remove the skin, and then I'm just gonna place it in a little bowl over here. And we're basically gonna be doing this for all of our pumpkin. So I got through all of the pumpkin. I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the potatoes. And we're just gonna be removing the skin from our potatoes, and then we're gonna be dicing them into smaller pieces. Just basically cut it in two, and we can just dice them this way. We don't want them too small. We also don't want them to be linting away in the soup. So this is the size I'm going for, and of course we're going to just continue doing this with the remainder of our potatoes. Okay, so I'm done cutting my potatoes. I gave them one last rinse, and now I've covered them in water, and this is to keep them from browning while we're prepping everything else. So I'm going to put these aside and move on to our carrots. So to clean up your carrots, you could use a carrot scraper, or you can just use your knife as a carrot scraper and run it along the carrot like this. Just apply a little pressure to the carrot to get off all that skin. And in doing this, instead of peeling the carrot, you avoid losing too much of the carrot. Sometimes we tend to peel things a little deep, but of course, if you have a carrot peeler, you are good to go as well. Okay, so I'm just gonna clean off all of my carrots, and then we're gonna chop them up and set them aside. So we're gonna go ahead and just chop our carrots. We're just chopping them regular in little circles, nothing spectacular. And just like we did with the potatoes, to avoid browning, we're going to just leave them in some water in the bowl. Okay, so guys, let's get into cutting up some fresh seasonings for our soup. We have some onions, we have garlic, we have sweet pepper, we have seasoned peppers, and we have thyme. Yes, and then I also have this fresh green seasoning by Caribbean Flavors that I'm going to be adding to the chicken itself. So yeah, let's get into cutting up some seasonings. Now you don't have to worry about how big I'm cutting the seasonings when you cook soup, like all the onion and some kind of lint way in the soup. So yeah, you won't be seeing these big chunks, but of course if it is your preference, you can cut them a bit smaller. And as I prepare them, I'm just going to be transferring them into a bowl. I think I'll use half more of an onion. I love me some onion. Let's move on to some seasoned peppers, and I store my seasoned peppers in the freezer to preserve them, so they are a bit on the soft side from the freezing. I want them to last me as long as possible, and I also may, in some cases I don't use them that often, and I tend to have a lot of them from a friend, so yeah. These I like to chop as small as possible because honestly I like how it flavors food, but I don't like the flavor of them by themselves. Does that make sense? Yeah, so if a big piece gets me in my mouth, I'm gonna be like, ew, no. Yeah, so just chop them as fine as you want to. Just transfer them to the bowl with the onions. For my thyme, you can leave your thyme nice and long like this. I like to do it. I like to see when I can put like a piece of thyme in everybody's bowl. Of course, you're not going to eat it, but still, I like to just see my thyme, you know, left how it is. And we're going to go ahead and add some sweet peppers to the mix. Not too much because we already have seasoned peppers. Seeds are okay, guys, but of course if you don't like to see them or you don't like them, it's up to you to remove them. They're not gonna grow in your belly. Let's transfer them over here, and then I'm gonna move on to some garlic. I'm gonna use about 6 cloves of garlic. I want 6 good sized cloves. So yeah, so this is enough. These are enough right here, and we're just gonna smash the garlic to make the skin easy to remove. Careful with your hand on the blade of the knife when you're doing this, please. And when you do that, the skin just kind of detaches itself and it comes off easily. If you try to peel the garlic without doing this, trust me, it's going to take you a little bit to peel it. Okay, so once we've removed all our shell, I'm going to go ahead and just chop our garlic. And of course, again, it's preference, as fine as you want to. Transfer to the bowl with all our other fresh seasonings. So as I said before, we're using chicken neck for the soup, and it was previously seasoned, but I'm just going to be going in with 1 Maggi cube to boost the seasoning. And when I cook soup, I don't use the artificial soup mix. I just make my soup from scratch, and I'm going in with that green seasoning by Caribbean Flavors, and that's just to add extra flavor. You don't have to. And then I'm just gonna get my hand in there just to kind of mix it all up. Of course, if you don't like to feel the meat, or you're afraid of salmonella spreading all over, you can go ahead and put on some gloves, but of course you just have to make sure that you clean up the place well, sanitize well. When you're finished doing this, wash your hands right after touching the chicken and wash it well. All right, Alright guys, so we're ready to make some soup. We're gonna go into our pot with just a little oil, and then we're gonna go ahead and just throw in our fresh seasonings. Gonna just allow those to sweat for a bit. In the interest of time, I would like to let these sweat a little more, but I'm kind of in a hurry, so I'm going in with my chicken. And we're gonna just leave our chicken here. I'm gonna cover the pot and allow it to just steam a bit, okay? So this is how our chicken is looking. Well steamed down and has sprung a bit of its water, its own water. I'm gonna be going in with my pumpkin because I want my pumpkin to actually lint away in the soup. So I added some water to the bowl in which the chicken was seasoned in, and that's what I'm using to add water to the pot. And we're gonna just add water to cover everything. And then I'm going to cover the pot now and just leave everything to boil down, and I'll be back with you guys shortly. So guys, while we're waiting for our soup to do its thing, we're going to go ahead and make some dumplings or droppers for our soup. And I basically freestyle with this. There's no specific measurements that I can provide for my dumplings for soup. You just go with the flow based on how much flour you're using. You just kind of gauge the butter and the salt content. Don't need too many dumplings, so there should be enough flour. I'm gonna go ahead and add some salt. Not too much salt because our butter is also salted. And then we're gonna just add some butter. Well, let me mix in the salt, sorry. And then we're gonna go ahead and just add 2 little dollops of butter. I like my dumplings buttery. If you want to use less fat, you can definitely do so. And then with clean hands, you're just gonna go ahead and work the butter into the flour. And we do this until it forms a breadcrumb-like consistency, and then we're gonna get some water to just bind this dough together, okay? So we're just gonna go ahead and just make a little well in the center of our flour, and we're gonna add a little bit of water, not too much water. Swirl it around and just start to crunch it to form your dough. I need to add a little bit more water. So you basically just add water as you see needed, okay? And at this point you might be tempted to add more water because the dough might feel a little stiff, but trust me, a little patience goes a long way, because the butter is going to go ahead and work into this flour, and it's going to get softer and softer as you need it. So this is my dumpling dough. We're going to just cover it and leave it. It's going to stay there and sweat and get even softer, and we're going to go ahead and check on our soup. So this is how our soup is looking right now. What I like to do is just crush the pumpkin. Just take them and kind of crush them to the side, and it will start to release color into the soup. It's not going to be so white and clear no more. Yes, guys. Imagine a chicken wing came in the pack of neck. Just to see how man is not perfect, right? Okay, so once we've had most of our pumpkin mashed away, this pumpkin wasn't too nice and, you know, vibrant. It looked more like a watery type pumpkin. So I'm not getting that nice vibrant yellow that I'm looking for, but this is good nonetheless. I'm gonna go ahead and taste the pot for salt. Oh wow, and the salt is actually perfect. So at this point I'm gonna go in with my potatoes and my carrots. So we're gonna go ahead and cover this right now and allow it to continue doing its thing, okay? So our soup is looking good, guys. It's starting to thicken up and everything, and our dumplings are just going to add to that thickness. So we're gonna go ahead and add them at this point, and we're almost to the end of the road. So we're gonna cover this once more and leave it to finish up. All right, guys, so here we have it. Our soup is done. Yes. Wish I had more ground provision and so forth, but we're gonna eat this and enjoy it because we're making use of what we have in the fridge. And in these COVID times, in these budget times, we gotta do that, okay? So yes, guys, whatever you have in your fridge, you can put together to make a pot of soup. Fill your belly, belch out the gas, and be merry. Alright guys, so remember to give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. Of course, share with your friends, and I'll see you guys on my next video.